Hey guys, what's up? It is CJ Trades back with another video. And today I'm doing my second annual CJ Trades Bracket March Madness Help video. So a lot of people on YouTube are looking up how to make a perfect bracket, how to make great brackets. And this is just a helpful video on you guys if you're beginners or it's your first time, or if you are experienced and you just need some help. Everyone has different brackets. This will just help you going. So, starting off, you have your one seeds and Gonzaga. You always want to give your one seeds the wins. That's what I do every start. Virginia versus UMBC was obviously very different, but that is not the norm. So then we're going to start in the West region. And so your 8-9, Memphis was from Penny Hardaway coaching. They had Jalen Duran, they had Imani Bates, Lomax. A pretty young core, but expected to be very good, but they're super inconsistent. Personally, I think Boise State will win this game. They are the lower seed or the higher seed, but they're still the underdogs for most people. Memphis is just too inconsistent for me. And then we have a 5-12 matchup, and you'll have UConn, New Mexico State, Houston, UAB, Iowa, Richmond, and St. Mary versus Wyoming or Indiana. And so you always want to pick at least one 12 to move on, but sometimes two. For me, it's still going to be UConn getting the win, but a lot of people like New Mexico State there. And then here we have a 4-13 Arkansas at Vermont. And this is where it gets a little tricky for everyone. So you always want to have Cinderella runs. And every bracket has around 12 upsets. And yours does not have to have 12, but you can have anywhere from 8 to 16, I'd say, anywhere in that range. Doesn't have to be close to 12, but you need your upsets. So Arkansas with JD Notae were great last year, and they're still great this year. But to me, I love Vermont. They've been winning by 40 every game in America East. It's a weaker conference, but I'm having a little upset there. And the next game, we have Alabama versus the first four matchup of Rutgers or Notre Dame. And I'm going to pick the first four team to move on because I think Bama's been so inconsistent with Davidson and Quinterly. I'm not a fan at all of how they've played this year, and Rutgers and Notre Dame have also been super inconsistent, but sometimes on better ends where Rutgers have been beating teams they should have not been close to beating at all. And same goes for Notre Dame, who almost won ACC near the end of the year. And then we have Texas Tech and Montana State. A lot of people like Montana State, but I have to give it to Texas Tech, just a better team overall. And then Michigan State with Izzo, or Coach Izzo, where a ton of great prospects and Hauser and a ton of players expected to be great, and they couldn't really piece it together as a team. And Davidson, they won the A10. They were a great team. I'm going to give another upset right there to Davidson. And then Duke and Cal State Fullerton, I have to give it to Duke. March Madness powerhouse. So then, scroll that back up for you. Seton Hall and TCU in the South region. I'm giving it to TCU. Great defense. And I think they can just get by Seton Hall. Not the best team. And then we have another 5-12. Once again, people view 5 and 12 as pretty much the exact same seed. Same goes for 8 and 9. I'm giving it to Houston because I just think they're a way better team overall. Better all-around stats, net ranking way better. Pretty much everything they've done has been better than UAB, but people like the upset. And everything I said stands for Chattanooga and Illinois. A lot of people like this upset too. I'm going for Illinois. Kofi Cockburn is not going to get stopped by Chattanooga. They're just too good for them. And then we have Colorado State and Michigan probably should not be in the tournament. Maybe SMU or A&M should be in instead of them. But Colorado State is a pretty good team all around. Michigan was not great to me. I'm picking Colorado State, the better ranked team, but still underdogs for most people. And then Longwood and Tennessee. Most people have Tennessee as a 1 or a 2 seed, and they are a 3, but Longwood just does not compare. Tennessee did great and even better as the year moved on. And then moving down, we have Ohio State versus Loyola Chicago, a team known for their Cinderella runs. I will not bet against Loyola Chicago. I just think they're a better team than Ohio State, regardless. But in March Madness, they're a different breed. It's just such a great team that you really have to watch out for every year. And then Villanova and Delaware. Villanova, with their coaching, with Wright, will always be good every year. And they've done it every year. So then Moving down, our 1 seed Kansas is going to be a first 4 matchup. San Diego State and Creighton, 8 and 9 seed. Don't really worry about that. I have Creighton because experienced team. I really like their team. Had a few injuries, but I have them winning. And then we have Iowa Richmond, another 5-12, and people once again love the Spiders, love Richmond. It could be interesting to see. I still have Iowa winning. How they played against Purdue last weekend just proves to me that Iowa's a real team. And then Providence versus South Dakota State. I definitely have Providence. Statistically, the luckiest team that made the tournament, but I don't think South Dakota State will catch up with that. And then even moving down more, we have LSU and Iowa State. Iowa State started out super strong and then kind of fell off, and they have kept falling off. I'm kind of surprised how highly ranked they were. I'm giving it to LSU. Then Wisconsin and Colgate. Definitely Wisconsin for me. Johnny Davis is one of the best players in the whole tournament. And then we have USC with the likes of Mobley and Peterson versus Miami. I think USC is just a better team overall. They struggled a bit with upsets in UCLA, but they also had their wins in the West. And then Auburn and Jacksonville State, 3, with Katie Johnson, Jabari Smith, Walker Kessler, Flanagan, Cambridge, like a super dangerous team. They make crazy plays every night. Walker is insane in the paint. Katie Johnson is just a beast. But they did fall off at the end of the year, and you have to watch out for a little upset bid from someone against Auburn. Then moving to the East region, once again, I have Baylor over Norfolk. And then UNC versus Marquette, I'm picking Shaka Smart's Marquette. I think it's better coached than UNC. Definitely not the better roster with Manick and Bacot on UNC, but I really like Marquette's chances there. And then we have Wyoming and Indiana playing. The winner of that will play St. Mary's. And St. Mary's is one of my 4 teams that I think will make great runs, or 5 teams, including Loyola Chicago, Vermont, San Francisco, and St. Mary's. All super, super dangerous teams that not many people really were expecting too much from them. But after St. Mary's win against Gonzaga, people started to listen. People started to watch. So I do have St. Mary's probably beating Indiana, but that won't matter. And then moving down to UCLA with Juzang and Bernard will definitely beat Akron. And then Texas with Marcus Carr will be playing Virginia Tech. I think Virginia Tech showed in their tournament run that they're here for real. And Texas, to me, I'm not a fan of the way they play. I don't think they play like a real tournament team. And then moving down, Purdue with the likes of Jaden Ivey and Zach Edey, unstoppable. I don't think Yale has any chance of guarding either of those two. And then Murray State and San Francisco, where it's a 7-10. Rankings really don't matter here. But a lot of people love Murray State because John Morant, he comes from the school. He had a good little run with them. And they had a great year. Only a few losses the entire season, but I love San Francisco. Great coaching, great shooting, great defense, great just captains on the defensive end. Really fun team to watch. I have them getting a minor upset over Murray State. And then Kentucky with Sheboy, Brooks, Grady, Toppin will definitely beat St. Peter's as a 15. So now moving up to the second round, Gonzaga will beat Boise State. I don't think anyone really considers Boise State in consideration there. And then UConn, Vermont will. A lot of people like UConn, but I'm going crazy. I'm going Vermont. And once again, you do not have to pick the upsets I do. I'm just showing you guys that you do need upsets. You need your Cinderella teams. It happens every year. I see experts on ESPN have a Final Four of 4 1 seeds or 4 2 seeds every year, and it will never happen ever in the history of the tournament. So you need your upsets. Doesn't matter who. I like Vermont. I'm going to pick them to move on there. And then Notre Dame, Rutgers, I'm picking one more. I think it'll be Notre Dame will be beating Texas Tech. I like the way they played ACC. Blake Wesley is a very, very good player. And then moving one more down, we have Davidson versus Duke. I have to give it to Duke. Banchero, Griffin, their entire team is very, very dangerous and one to watch out for. Moving down to the Eastern region, we have Baylor playing Marquette. And Baylor is a very good team. They're champions last year, not to be played around with. I think they'll probably get by Marquette pretty easily. And then we do have St. Mary's versus UCLA. This will be a tough game for a lot of people. A lot of people like St. Mary's here as a little upset over UCLA, who is definitely favored here. And to me, I have to go with St. Mary's because I like the way they play. They beat Gonzaga. UCLA has been so inconsistent. I think they're a team, because of how they played last year, is going to get a little overhyped, but it'll still be a close game. Could really go either way. And moving down one more, Virginia Tech, Purdue. Purdue, to me, is going to steamroll Virginia Tech. Edie and Ivy, I can't say enough about them. Zach or Jaden Ivey reminds me of like a John Morant, Derrick Rose, like so explosive and can really just blow by any defender guarding him. And then going south, we have San Francisco as a 10 versus Kentucky as a 2. And a lot of people love Kentucky for their final matchup. I think if Kentucky were playing anyone else, I'd have them probably in the championship game. But I love my crazy upsets. I'm picking San Francisco. Upsets are going to happen somewhere. I'm just trying to guess where. I really like how San Francisco plays. I can see it happening. Sheboy is really good. You're going to have to hope you get him in foul trouble maybe. Try and out-rebound him, even though that is impossible this year. But I'm going with a crazy upset there. I really like San Francisco, if you have not noticed. Then moving back up to the south, we have Arizona versus TCU. And I think Arizona is going to win. TCU doesn't have much going on really at all. Arizona has a ton of foreign-born players in Mathurin who are just absolute beasts that are not guarded very easily. And then Houston and Illinois. A lot of people really will get Illinois out really early because of how poorly they've done in recent March Madness tournaments. And they are definitely a school that have established themselves as not really making great runs. But I'm going to pick Illinois to win here. I think they're just a better team than Houston. Not a huge fan of Houston. And then we have Colorado State playing Tennessee. Once again, I'm going with Tennessee. Great team, very underrated. Great backcourt. And then moving on, we have Loyola Chicago as the 10 seed, playing Villanova as the 2 seed. But I love my crazy upsets. As you know, I'm picking Loyola. I don't mess around with Sister Jean. Such a dangerous team with Lucas Williamson, Uguak, Braden Norris. Chris Knight has really been a star recently. I really, really like Loyola. Watch a ton of them. I think they're a dangerous team. Lucas Williamson is one of the best players in the country. Great on the defensive end and on the offensive end. And I think Valentine's coaching taking over from Porter Moses was really special this year. And their defense means a lot. If you want to make a good run, you need at least an average offense, but you need a great defense, guaranteed. Then moving down to the Midwest, Kansas, I think, is just going to steamroll Creighton. And then Iowa, Providence. I do have Iowa with Bohannon and Keegan Murray, one of the best players in the whole country. And then down with LSU and Wisconsin. Not a huge fan of LSU. I think Johnny Davis and Wisconsin will get that easy win there. And then at the way bottom, I think Auburn will just beat USC, just a better team overall. And then we have Gonzaga and Vermont. And I have to go with I'm going with Gonzaga. It's a 1 seed. They're definitely going to beat Vermont, but I like the run that I have there up to the Sweet 16. And now I think another one's ending here. I think Duke is going to beat Notre Dame. Duke is just too good. We saw it in the ACC. I don't think Notre Dame can do anything about them. And then I have Baylor beating St. Mary's. Baylor won it last year, just a really good defensive team, all the way down to their bench with Flo Thamba and just all their guys on their team make good impacts. And then I have Purdue beating San Francisco. The run ends there. Didn't make it to the Elite Eight, but still a good team. Purdue is such a good team to watch. Very fun. And then up to the South, Sweet 16. Arizona versus Illinois. I'm taking Arizona. Such a good team. Defensively, they're shooting. Mathurin is super special. And then Tennessee versus Loyola Chicago. You guessed it. I'm picking one more upset. Loyola is going to beat Tennessee. I can already see it happening. I have no bias whatsoever, but I think Loyola is a very, very good team. And Tennessee just might fall. You never know what will happen. So now we have Kansas and Iowa. I have Kansas as the 1 seed moving past Iowa. They're just such a great team. Really, no one has really talked too much about them. They had some bad losses, and a lot of people think Kentucky was a better team, but Kansas really shone throughout the whole year. And then Wisconsin, Auburn. To me, Auburn is just more fight. Katie Johnson can just not be stopped on the defensive end unless he goes 0 for 16, which did happen last week. And then moving into our first Elite Eight matchup, Gonzaga-Duke. Going one more minor upset with Duke beating Gonzaga. It happened earlier in the year. They didn't have A.J. Griffin playing much. Played under 10 minutes. He's one of their best sharpshooters now. Banchero's on a whole nother level than he was then. And Duke is just like really unstoppable at the moment. And then down to Baylor and Purdue. I am picking Purdue to move on. I think Ivy will not be stopped. Now moving up to our last two, we have Arizona Loyola. Nope, it's Arizona. I have to pick them. They're too good. Loyola's run will end right there in the Elite Eight, just like it did 3 years ago, or 4 years ago now. And then Kansas and Auburn. I'm going to give it to Auburn beating Kansas. They're going to grind on the defensive end. Walker Kessler, Katie Johnston, and Jabari Smith is he's a baby Durantula. He's a baby KD. He's such a great player, fun to watch, and I think he'll get him far in the tournament. So now we're at our final four. And as you can obviously tell, I have a 1 seed in Arizona, a 2 in Auburn, a 2 in Duke, and a 3 in Purdue. You never want 4 1 seeds, but more than likely one of them will make it to the final four. And you want your upsets, obviously, like I had in the Elite Eight. I had a 10 seed, and then I had our 1, a 2, a 1, a 3, and a 1, a 2. But you don't want too many upsets really leaking through. Like, you want them earlier on to get rid of them, not to mess up your whole tournament if one of them loses. And now we have Duke versus Purdue. I'm going to give it to Duke. I think they're just unstoppable. Banchero's been amazing. Griffin's been amazing. Keels, Roach. That whole team is just a super good team. And then moving to the other half, we have Arizona versus Auburn. I think this could go either way, but it's going to be definitely tight for the two teams with the A logos. But to me, Arizona, they've been wicked good all year. I give them the win right there. Now our championship game in the Caesar Superdome in New Orleans, April 4th, I'm going to give it to Arizona. I think they're going to be beating Duke. And I think they're just a very good team, very underrated. They are a 1 seed, but people really don't see them as getting all the way. I do. You heard it here first. I think Duke and Purdue, all 4 of these, to me, are the best 4 teams. I think Gonzaga is going to get upset before the Final Four, probably. Probably by Duke. That would be the only team, really. But I love these 4. I think any of these 4 could really win the tournament. I just happen to pick Arizona. And I'll do 71-65 just because that's a number I think could happen. Maybe some free throws to add on to the final tally. And that would be the end of my bracket. So if you guys like the video, just leave a like. Comment down below your picks, what I did wrong in my picks. I'm not perfect. I'm just going what I think is correct. So just let me know in the comments down below how you feel. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.